What are the Lego sets that will be retiring this year in 2023? That is the question that I'm going to answer here in this video. I love this time of year every year because this is when I start to actually pay attention to the sets that are retiring this year. If you're new to the channel, this is where we talk about Lego investing. We buy Lego sets, we hold them as the values go up. And when we talk about retirement dates, we're talking about the time when manufacturing stops on Lego sets. And when that happens, the value starts to shoot up on eBay and Amazon and in other places. And when we have access to a list of retirement dates, it gives us a really good clue at what Lego sets will be growing in value soon. What are the sets that you could still go out and buy right now in retail stores? But when these dates come and go, then the values are going to start rising on these sets, because at that point, if anybody wants the set, they're going to have to go to eBay or Amazon or Bricklink to actually pick one up. So I always love to start looking at this retirement list early in the year to start thinking about what are the sets that I want to invest in this year and add to my hit list. Now, before we jump in and look at these sets, what are the sets that are retiring this year, I do want to just add a caveat for anybody who's a little bit newer to this concept of Lego investing, that we can't depend entirely on these retirement lists because they're never 100% accurate, and especially so early in the year, there is a chance that these dates will change throughout the year. The Lego group often change these dates on certain sets, and some of the stuff that is shown on this list today will not actually end up retiring this year because some of it will get pushed out into next year and some of the dates will change. We just got to keep that in mind and keep your ear to the ground for any changes to these dates throughout the year. Also, being part of the communities and kind of engaging with the Lego investing community is a great way to pay attention to any of these dates that may change. But regardless, this is a great starting point, and a lot of the stuff that we will look at here on this list today will actually end up retiring, and so this is a great starting point for us. And with that, let's jump in and start talking about some of the sets that are going to be retiring here in 2023. Now, we're looking at an Excel spreadsheet here today because I just really like doing this in Excel because I can add stuff and I can do calculations and different things, but you can find these dates on blogs and different places on the internet. Some places you could find it would be brickfanatics.com, stonewars.de, and brickset.com, and these are all kind of different sources and they get the information from different places. And typically what I like to do is I like to get the information from as many different places as possible, cross-reference it, and then put it into my own spreadsheet. Now, I also have some sources in my network, some friends who have some information and different things that I combine together into this as well, and I build out these spreadsheets. Now, I make this spreadsheet available for you to download, so if you want to go down to the description down below, you can actually download the first spreadsheet of 2023, and as we go through the year, you can download the new versions as I make changes to them. And once again, the information comes from all sorts of different sources. I just like to put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and maybe you do too, so you can download that down below. So we've got theme on the left side, then we have set number in column B, we have set name, and then we have retirement date. And you're going to see retirement dates either in July or in December. So we have architecture, and just a single set in Lego architecture, that is the White House. Not a surprise, we kind of knew that that was coming this year. It's an amazing set. It is very reminiscent of the old US Capitol building Lego set, which is selling at pretty good prices in the aftermarket, so it was a good investment. Will the White House perform the same? I think there's a chance that the White House is going to have higher demand than the US Capitol. Now, for me personally, I wish we had more retirements than this one, such as some of the Skyline architecture sets, but this is all we have this year. It is the White House retiring in 2023 from the architecture lineup. Next up, we have Lego Art, and Art has 4 different sets that are retiring this year in 2023. That is the World Map, the Batman Collection, the Rolling Stones, and the Floral Art. Now, I really like the World Map. I personally built one. I have one on the wall next to me. It's an awesome set, and I'm a big fan of that. I think that could do very well. Likewise, Batman Collection I think could do very well as an investment, depending on some of the numbers. Now, I do gotta say, I haven't done a lot of research yet on some of these sets because we're just at the start of the year, and as the year progresses, I'm going to be looking into the numbers on supply and demand and expectations for retirement on these sets. I'll be making content as I do that, of course, so you'll be up to date on what I think about some of these sets. But right now, I'm just giving some preliminary kind of thoughts on the sets as we go through them. Rolling Stones, I think, is, it's got a lot of potential because we've seen some of the music-based sets do pretty well when it comes to art. So the Beatles, for example, and Elvis as well is looking like it could potentially do well. So, you know, the Rolling Stones could be one to watch. That is 4 different Lego art sets. Now, next up we have Avatar. So Avatar has 3 sets that are retiring in 2023. It's a brand new theme. Of course, the second movie in the Avatar series just was released and it's doing very, very well at the box office. There is a good chance that this kind of whole theme and brand of Avatar continues to sell very, very well. There were some question marks before the second movie was released on whether it would do well, it would perform, and it's really living up. It's got very high ratings, a lot of people love it, and so the third movie is definitely going to be coming out in the next couple of years. And how will this impact the Lego sets? It is hard to know because, again, this is a brand new theme. When a theme doesn't have a track record and history, as an investment, it's a little bit riskier because you don't really know exactly how well it's going to do. And we don't really have much history to look back at when it comes to how oversupplied are the sets going to be. How is the demand going to hold up when the prices are at 2 or 3 times the retail prices? It's hard to know on a brand new theme. However, Avatar has a lot going for it. And we do know that in the future, we are going to have some new movies that will prop up that demand. Now we look at Brickheads, and in Brickheads we have 17 sets here that are retiring. Of course, we have some ones that really stand out. We have some of the Disney ones here with Donald Duck, Goofy, and Pluto, and Daisy Duck all retiring here. We also have the Harry, Hermione, Ron, and Hagrid 4-pack of the Harry Potter sets. Now this goes really, really nicely with the Voldemort, Nagini, and Bellatrix set that retired at the end of 2022. So this is a nice follow-on for anyone who wants to continue to collect the Harry Potter Brickheads. When you have 3 different sets, and each of them have 3 or 4 different Brickheads characters in them, that's a nice collection for someone right off the bat just by buying 3 sets. And so I could see demand sustaining for Harry, Hermione, Ron, and Hagrid here after it retires. Now we also have Ahsoka from Star Wars. That one has a lot of buzz around it, and a lot of investors have high hopes for that one. Good chance that it could live up. We have some of the football ones, Manchester United and Barcelona. And Professors of Hogwarts is also retiring this year. So again, we have that collection element that comes in with the Harry Potter sets, because if you bought Nagini, Bellatrix, and Voldemort before it retired, you're probably also going to want to buy the Harry, Hermione, Ron, and Hagrid and the Professors of Hogwarts Brickhead sets to complete your collections. So those sets could do quite well. Now, we also got a call out here that we have the Lord of the Rings stuff that is brand new. It has just been released at the start of 2023, and it is scheduled to retire at the end of 2023. That is the Gandalf the Grey and the Balrog, and the Aragorn and Arwen Brickhead sets. I love both of them. I'm a massive Lord of the Rings fan. It is my favorite movie trilogy of all time. I was so happy to hear that they were bringing out more Lord of the Rings Lego sets. Gandalf and Balrog is my favorite out of these two. Massive fan. I just love it. Mandalorian and Child, the Brickheads set that has been around for way too long. This set is kind of notorious in the Lego investing community because a lot of people bought them 3 or 4 years ago thinking it was going to retire. It is finally on the way out in 2023. Will it perform well? For me personally, it's going to have a lot of supply out there. There's going to be a lot of lowball sellers trying to move their inventory as soon as this retires. That will slow down the price appreciation. I think the demand will definitely still be there. It is The Mandalorian, and the TV show will continue. And as new seasons get released, you have massive props for that demand. You have spikes in that demand. Now, in the city theme, we have 45 different sets retiring in city. We have a lot of the stuff that you would expect to see, such as fire stations and fire brigades and fire helicopters, police chase at the bank, like a lot of the typical city stuff that we see retiring every year. New releases and then retire, new release, then retire. Some of them can do very, very well, and I've done really, really well on some of the low-priced city vehicles over time. But in general, we have a lot of stuff that you could look through here. Ice cream truck, obviously always going to be needed in a Lego city. Train stations. So we've got a lot of stuff here for city. And we have classic, so 5 sets in classic, and then we have creator. 12 sets in creator that are retiring. Now in creator, I really do like the roses and the tulip sets. Again, I haven't done a whole lot of research yet on the fundamentals and the numbers under a lot of these sets. So these are not investment decisions as I'm kind of highlighting some of these sets. These are just preliminary thoughts. In general, a lot of the botanical sets out there right now are selling very, very quickly. These are nice kind of additions to that lineup and go very nicely in terms of collection with some of the botanical sets. So I like those two sets, and then also the Yellow Taxi and Tuk Tuks are also pretty interesting to me. Now there's a handful of others that I think are also quite interesting here, but again, I'm going to want to look a little bit deeper as the year progresses. Now we have two DC superhero sets that are retiring this year, and both of them are Batman sets. So we have the Penguin Chase Batmobile, which I think is a really, really nice one. I actually really like that set. And then we have Batman versus Harley Quinn, both retiring in 2023. Looking at Disney next, so scrolling down a little bit to get a count of these, we've got 26 Disney sets that are retiring this year. Now, Mickey Mouse can do very, very well in general. As a brand, those sets can do very, very well. There are some exceptions. They don't always do well. It does involve some research, but they're always interesting to look a little bit closer at. Frozen Ice Castle. We had the Disney Castle that just retired at the end of 2022. That is the expensive $350 set. Well, this Frozen Ice Castle is another big Disney set, and it is also retiring, and it is retiring in 2023. Now, Frozen doesn't have any new movies or anything coming out in 2023, I don't believe, but obviously that doesn't really matter because the set this year is still on the shelves. We want to see stuff in the future, like in 2024, 2025, that could come out in the Frozen brand that could help the demand to spike on this set. And there has been talk of Frozen 3. I do think it is going to be on the horizon, so there is a chance it could line up pretty nicely with the retirement of this set. When you're holding this in retirement, there could be a chance that that demand starts to creep back up again as a new movie comes closer to being released. Buzz Lightyear, so we have some of the Toy Story stuff here, and then scrolling down further, what else do we see here? More Frozen stuff. Elsa, Anna and Elsa's Frozen Wonderland, Belle and the Beast Castle. There's been a handful of those sets also released. Next up, we have the Ice Castle, and actually, I'm just realizing this is the expensive Frozen Castle. The one I talked about before, the Frozen Ice Castle, is actually the cheaper one, I believe. That's like the $50 version. But this one, 43197, is the set number of the expensive Frozen Castle. Madrigal House is one that I will be watching. This is from the Encanto movie. It is the kind of iconic set from that theme. I do think there's going to be a sequel to that movie. I'm not sure if that's been announced or anything yet, but I'll be watching for it because I do think that those sets could have something going for them if there is a sequel on the horizon. And this one, as long as it's not re-released, it could do quite well. Again, I will be keeping a closer eye on it. What else do we see? Let's move down and look at dots. 13 different sets here, and dots in general, it's a theme that if you get them at a really good price, it could do quite well, and it does get ignored by a lot of Lego investors. And I've done quite well on some of the sets in the dots theme. So I'll be looking a little bit closer at some of these ones for sure. We have a lot to pick between here for dots retiring in 2023. 32 sets in the Lego Friends theme that are retiring this year. And the interesting thing is that they are essentially transitioning the Friends storylines into a kind of a different version, and they're growing up the characters that were kids in the previous sets, and they're kind of introducing new characters. And with that, they're basically retiring all of the season 1 sets of Lego Friends. There is a chance that there's going to be a massive kind of a spike in demand for some of the sets that include these main characters when they were kids, right? Because now those mini dolls are going to be harder to find. There is going to be new characters, and there's going to be people who want to go back and collect some of the older stuff. So it is an interesting thing that we are now looking at as Lego investors, where an entire theme is kind of transitioning to a new phase, and the entire old version is retiring. We saw this similar thing happen with the Speed Champion sets, where the old, smaller cars all went away, and then they introduced a whole new lineup. There could be some opportunity here with these sets. Moving down to Harry Potter. So what do we have here? We have 15 different sets in Harry Potter. Now, we already mentioned Professors of Hogwarts when we looked at Duplo. We have 4 Privet Drive. We have Hogwarts Astronomy Tower. Hedwig is an exclusive to Barnes & Noble in the US, and it is kind of harder to find, so that one could be one to watch. We have Polyjuice, Potion Mistake, Hospital Wing, Magical Trunk, Carriage Ancestrals, Sirius's Rescue. So a handful of the lower price sets, but also the higher price sets in the Harry Potter theme. We have Ministry of Magic, 12 Grimmauld Place. There's a lot of stuff here, and some of these I think could do very, very well as investments. Hogwarts Astronomy Tower, it goes very, very well with the old Great Hall that retired back in 2021 and with the Clock Tower that retired in 2022. 4 Privet Drive and which other one? The kind of the Ministry of Magic and 12 Grimmauld Place are all scenes that are outside of Hogwarts, but they're pretty important to the story. At the end here, we have the house banners. So the house banners are brand new this year. They've just been released. They go nicely with the old Hogwarts Moment sets, which I've talked about in a few videos as investments. The house banners will be something I'm watching because I like them just like I liked the Moment sets. They are kind of these fold-out sets that you could put on a shelf, and then they have a lot of playability and different factors that go with them. All of them will have a short shelf life because they've just been released this year, and then they're going to be retired at the end of the year. All right, so moving on now into icons. And in icons, we have 16 different sets retiring in icons. Now that is substantial. Icons, of course, is the old creator expert. So these are the bigger, more adult focused sets that are a little more complicated to build, and they're typically higher prices. 16 of them retiring, that is big. That is a big number, and there's a lot of stuff here that are going to be interesting for investors. So let's dig in. We have Assembly Square, which has been around for quite some time. That is a modular building, and it has outstayed its welcome a little bit. Assembly Square has. It's a beloved set, so a lot of people are happy that it stuck around for so long. But we are kind of surprised that some of the other sets in this lineup retired before Assembly Square did. So it is finally going, and 2023 it is going to be retiring. We also have Bookshop, so skipping forward just to mention that we have 2 modular buildings retiring this year, according to this early information. Of course, again, this stuff could change throughout the year, so we need to remember that. But as of right now, we have 2 modular buildings that are scheduled to retire in 2023. Now, next up, we have the Ford Mustang. These vehicles, creator expert icons vehicles, can also do very, very well. So there's been a handful of them in the past, and the Ford Mustang, I think, is also going to have a lot of fans out there who are going to continue to want this set after retirement. NASA fans are going to love this Apollo 11 lunar lander, which is retiring in 2023 following the retirement of the International Space Station from the Ideas lineup in 2022. Haunted House. This is a $250 mammoth epic Lego set that a lot of people really, really love. This is from the Fairground sub-theme. Big fan of Haunted House. I will be looking at this a little closer and watching this set throughout the year. Next up, we have Colosseum, one of the biggest Lego sets ever released, is retiring at the end of 2023. We have Flower Bouquet, which will be the first set in the botanical lineup that is retiring. That is retiring at the end of 2023. And Bird of Paradise as well. Pickup truck, again, another vehicle going along with the Ford Mustang that is retiring this year. The Friends Apartments, following the retirement of Central Perk in 2022. We'll be saying goodbye to the Friends Apartment set in 2023. We have the Winter's Village set. This is the Santa's Visit, again, following the Elf Clubhouse retirement in 2022. We have the next soccer stadium to be retired. This will be the Real Madrid Stadium following the Barcelona and Manchester United retirements in 2022. The Atari 2600 is retiring in 23. The Galaxy Explorer is retiring. Everyone is Awesome is retiring. Horizon Forbidden West Tall Neck retiring. Icon 16 different sets to choose between as a Lego investor this year. Again, let's just pay attention for any changes to this because it is a big, long list, and I won't be surprised if Lego decides to push out any of these sets into 2024. But as of right now, that's a really interesting list. Next up, we have the Lego Idea sets, and we have 5 Lego Idea sets scheduled to retire at the end of 2023 right here. So we have Medieval Blacksmith, amazing set. This is one of my favorite builds that I have ever done. I just love this set. It's a fantastic looking set, looks great on a shelf. That is retiring at the end of 2023. We also have Winnie the Pooh retiring in 23, Fender Stratocaster, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Table Football. Table Football will have a very short shelf life if this remains to be true and it does actually go. The set was heavily discounted very, very quickly after its release, which, it kind of shows that maybe the sales haven't been very strong on Table Football. Next up, we have Jurassic World. We have 8 different sets retiring in 2023 here. Some of these sets are really, really awesome. Now, some of them are a little bit kind of more basic and generic, but some are pretty cool, and I will definitely be digging a little bit deeper. But off the bat, one that I do think is interesting is the T-Rex Breakout. This is the Target exclusive $100 set. It looks great on a shelf, and I think it's going to have a lot of sustained demand. Next up, we have Marvel. So we have 18 Marvel sets retiring. Now, some of the standouts for me, of course, include Venom. So this is the Venom kind of helmet or bust type set. Similar to Carnage. Carnage just retired at the end of 2022. There will be people who bought Carnage who also want to buy Venom. I do hope there's more released in that series. So if they continue to release more sets, if they brought out like a Spider-Man bust or something, it would also go nicely with the Venom and Carnage sets. Now we also have some other important sets in the Marvel lineup, of course, like the Guardian ship, Attack on New Asgard, Thor's hammer, which is a really nice displayable set that's also going to be gone this year in 2023, and also the Black Panther. So as you can tell, I really like these sets that are, you know, kind of for the shelf, right? These Marvel sets that are displayable. Moving down to Minecraft, and Minecraft, we once again have a big number here. We've got 14 different sets retiring in Minecraft. Now this is a theme that has a lot of potential to do well. It does not always do well, so you can't just kind of roll a dice with Minecraft. And some sets, you know, they knock it out of the park. We do need to do a little bit of research on some of these sets. So we've got sets like the Coral Reef, Abandoned Mine, the Pig House, Ruined Portal, Creeper Ambush. A lot of stuff here for the Minecraft theme, and I'll definitely be digging into some of these sets in a lot more detail over the coming months. Next up we have Monkey Kid. We have 9 different sets retiring in Monkey Kid, and some of these sets are amazing. Visually, I love the Monkey Kid lineup. One of my favorites on this list is the Dragon of the East 80037. If you haven't seen that set, just have a look at it. Super colorful. I love it. It's an awesome set. In terms of the fundamentals and whether or not these sets perform well as investments, I'm going to be digging in a little bit deeper on some of the numbers and watching particularly whether some of these sets get heavily discounted throughout the year. That will be just one of the things that I watch to try and see kind of how well these might do as investments. I think that there's a lot of potential with the Monkey Kid theme if you pick the right sets. Next up we have Ninjago, another theme that I'm a big fan of, and this is 21 Ninjago sets. Some of them are retiring in July this year and some of them are retiring in December. In July we have these ones. So we've got Zane's Titan Mech Battle, Water Dragon. So Water Dragon, by the way, it goes nicely with a collection of other Ninjago Dragon sets. Hydro Bounty, Ninja Dragon Temple, Kai's Fire Dragon, Zane's Golden Dragon Jet, and Kai's Golden Dragon Raider. And then in December, we have another 14 sets. So that includes Ninja Mech, it has Thunder Dragon Evo, Zane's Power Up Mech. So we've got a lot of stuff here to look over and to start to dig into in a lot more detail. Now, Ninjago is a theme that is often overlooked by LEGO investors, and a lot of people don't give it the attention that it deserves, particularly in the December wave, because people are distracted with the other stuff, and not a lot of people look at Ninjago. So there's a lot of potential in that lineup. Now next up we have seasonal. So the seasonal sets, of course, we have Santa's Sleigh here with Christmas Wreath, Valentine's Lovebirds, Easter Rabbits display, Halloween Cotton Mouse, Wintertime Polar Bears, Lunar New Year display, and Lunar New Year Paradise. These are often overlooked as well as LEGO investments, and they are nice sets to have a bump in demand at various different times of the year. So it is worth having a closer look at seasonal. Next up we have Speed Champions. We have 7 different sets retiring in Speed Champions this year, which is abnormally high, of course, because 2 of last year's Speed Champion sets got pushed out. The retirement dates got pushed out into 2023. That is the Jesco and the Supra. So these 2 top ones here should have retired typically on the usual release and retirement schedule that Speed Champions goes through. They should have retired at the end of 2022. They will have an extra long shelf life as a result of that, but they are retiring in 2023. But in addition to their retirement, we also have 5 others retiring. That includes the 1970 Ferrari, we have the Lotus, we have the Aston Martin, we have the 007 Aston Martin, and we have the Fast and Furious Dodge Charger. A lot to choose between. If you are a Speed Champions fan, collector, investor, you are spoiled for choice this year with Speed Champion sets that are retiring. Next up we have Star Wars, and how many Star Wars sets do we have retiring so far? We have got 20 on the list right now for retirement in 2023. There's a lot here, of course. We have Tusken Raider AT-AT, Mos Eisley Cantina, that expensive, beautiful looking set for Mos Eisley. The Razor Crest, which is an Amazon exclusive set in the United States. We have the Imperial TIE Fighter, we have Luke's X-Wing, Republic Gunship, the UCS set. We have Boba Fett's Starship, previously known as the Slave One. We have the Child Buildable. We have the Snow Trooper Battle Pack, Hoth AT-ST, Dark Trooper Attack, Boba Fett's Throne Room, Death Star Trench Run. So these are the dioramas that were released last year that are also retiring this year. ATST, we have the Republic Fighter Tank, Dark Trooper Helmet, and Boba Fett's Starship Microfighter, so the Microfighter version of that Slave One. Again, with Star Wars, we've got a ton of stuff going on here. Next up, we have Super Mario. This is another one that has some retirement in July. We have 4 different sets that are retiring in July. That is Goomba's Shoe, Cat Peach Suit and Frozen Tower, Big Spike's Cloud Top Challenge, and Big Bad Island. And then we have another 8 different sets that are retiring in December 2023, including Yoshi's Gift House, Nintendo Entertainment System. So that is an interesting one for a lot of people. That is the buildable, displayable Nintendo Entertainment System. Awesome set, and I know there's a lot of big fans out there for that one. And then next up, let's have a look at Technic. So in Technic, we have 21 different sets retiring, and a handful of these are big standouts. The Porsche 911 RSR finally retiring. This one has been around for way too long. We have Dom's Dodge Charger retiring. We have the Jeep Wrangler retiring. We have the McLaren Senna retiring. The Ferrari 488 GTE retiring. We have the Batman Batmobile retiring. Heavy duty tow truck is retiring. The motorcycle is retiring. Tons and tons of stuff in the Technic lineup. We've got a lot of retirements here in Technic. And some of these sets, in my opinion, could be ones to watch. So 2023 is going to be an insane year for Lego investing. We have so much choice this year for Lego investments that I think will sustain demand over time. And so much choice and all of these different themes and great sets retiring will lead to less supply on some of them because some investors won't know where to go. And they'll be spreading out their funds a little bit more across such a wide variety of amazing sets. And it's going to be interesting to see how all of that plays out in terms of the return on investments on these sets. Now, once again, I just want to call out that this is a preliminary look. This is a first look at some of the sets, and this will be changing. Usually we have a lot of changes throughout the year on retirement dates, but I will be releasing videos that talk a little bit more about any changes that come out. And if you want to see those videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. And once again, if you want to download this list straight to your computer, you can also do that in the link down below. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I'm Shane from brickbucks.net, and I will see you in the next one.